Hey, everybody, we're back again to look at comedy films from the 2010s. Got Brian, Doc, and we're going to concentrate on comedy films 2010 to 2019. AYBL Maine, sub him up. Check out his contest that's running currently for his 27th anniversary. So here we go. Top five comedies, going five through one. Brian, leading off.
All righty. Well, I got to tell you guys, this is a tough decade to find some comedies that were worth mentioning. But I did come up with some. Some of them are probably stretching the category a little bit, but I managed to get some. Number five, I'm going to have Knives Out.
Ooh.
This was a kind of a comedy slash drama slash crime thriller. But it was different. I mean, it had an all-star cast. It had Daniel Craig in it and Jamie Lee Curtis. And I believe that Christopher Plummer was in this as well.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the guy who played Chris Evans, the guy who plays Captain America anyway. It had an all-star cast, and it was very different and had a lot of twists and turns and odd characters. And it was the odd characters that made it kind of funny to me. And I saw this in the theater, and I wasn't disappointed. I thought, when I first got dragged into it by my wife and my daughter, that I wasn't going to like it, but I actually did. I thought it was funny. And so I got it on my list at number five. Number four, I've got an animated film. I'm not always big on these animated films making it, but in this case, I went ahead with Megamind. It's kind of a superhero animated film where Will Ferrell, who plays this evil mastermind, plots to kill the superhero Brad Pitt's character. Brad Pitt actually fakes his death during the course of it because he wants to get out of the superhero business. And then Will Ferrell's evil genius, he's getting bored because he doesn't have anything to do. So he's trying to like reinvent himself and become a hero in some sense. And it just has a lot of weird things. I mostly put that in there because of the voice characters are always really interesting that they get. It's got David Cross as his henchman, the little fishbowl helmet guy and stuff. I thought it was kind of funny. Number three is Blackkklansman. Kind of a different movie too. It's the one where it's a David Washington guy and Adam Driver, the guy who plays Kylo Ren in the Star Wars stuff. They're basically like FBI agents who unwittingly, they're kind of infiltrating the Ku Klux Klan, even though one of them's black and one of them's Jewish. So the black guy's the one that actually corresponds with them on the phone, and they can't tell the difference. And then actually Adam Driver ends up like physically starting to go to Klans meetings, even though he's got this big Jewish nose and everything. And it's just wild, some of the stuff that goes on. And you figure, how could these guys just not know? But sometimes real life is funnier than fiction. So number two is Deadpool. I know we're doing a comic based category all in itself, but I think Deadpool deserves its own spot here in comedy. One of those, probably the only one I can think of outside of Ferris Bueller, that we've got a character who's breaking the fourth wall.
Oh yeah.
And Ryan Reynolds just plays this character just right to the T. The deadpan humor is great. He's always got these one-liners going on. Probably the most hilarious character in it is his blind roommate who he's making put together IKEA furniture. It's just awful. The stuff that he puts her through. Tells her that he's hidden cocaine somewhere in the floorboards if she can find it. It's just hilarious, the things that he'll do. And even though it's a superhero movie, just for the comedy alone, it's worth the watch if somebody's not into superhero movies. But number one, I know this is kind of like, these weird over the top raunchy humor, but I've got Ted. It's got Seth MacFarlane's little creation where he's got Mark Wahlberg, and he has his teddy bear from his childhood comes to life, and of course the teddy bear like grows with him as he matures as a man, and so the teddy bear becomes more and more inappropriate as he grows up. And some of the jokes that they use, the sexual jokes that they use with the teddy bear, is just way over the top, but hilarious. It's just definitely worth watching. I forget. Seth MacFarlane actually does the voice of the teddy bear. That's who it is. And Giovanni Ribisi, I believe, is the villain in it that's trying to steal Ted at one point in the movie. So it's raunchy humor. You know, if you're gonna watch Family Guy or anything that Seth MacFarlane actually produces, you know what kind of humor you're gonna get. And Ted's no different. This is what you're gonna get. So that's my top 5.
Very
Excellent.
good.
I like that. Very good.
You know, I forgot about Ted, man. Ted's a pretty freaking funny.
It's silly, but it is funny. And some of the one-liners are awesome.
Oh man, I should throw Ted in my. I'm not going to put him on my list now, but if I think about it, it'd be in my list if I went back and did it. So, but I'll let my list stand the way it is. But Ted would have been on there. Frank, that's funny. I'm going to start off with number 5 as. You're right. This could go anyway, Brian, in one sense. So I'm just going to try to keep it probably in the main street here, but I don't know. Masterminds is my first one. So my number 5 is Masterminds. And I think Kristen Wiig here is a pretty funny actress in anything that she's in and stuff. And Zach, don't ask me to say this guy's last name. Geez, I always never pronounce it wrong, but Zach.
Galifianakis?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, this true story from these two. I mean, he's just a buffoon in this, man. This guy's just an idiot, you know. But based on a true story, I mean, watching this with Owen Wilson, it's one of the biggest bank robberies. It's based on a true story. One of the biggest bank robberies from the Loomis Bank here, and how they actually even got as far as they did, I'll never understand in my life. But it's a comedy of errors and a comedy of like just It's a pretty funny movie, actually. I mean, it's based around Zach. That's the funny and the humor inside of it. But it's a pretty funny movie. Good for a watch, that's for sure, I'd say. My number 4 is Tag.
Oh, yes.
I find it's another true story here about, you know, guys that have been playing a game of tag for like 20 or 30 years together or something like that. Just forever. They've been playing a game of tag. It's on for like 1 month a year, every year of their lives, pretty much. Right. And it's a bunch of, there's some very comedic scenes in this movie, and the lengths that these guys go to tag somebody, it's pretty outrageous in some senses, man. So it's a pretty funny flick, man, I find. My number 3 is going to go to Bridesmaids. So there's Kristen again. So not really my wheelhouse of comedy movies that I would actually normally say that I would say this is, you know, something I'm going to watch. But this is a pretty friggin' funny movie, man. This is, you know, it's got some funny scenes in this. From, you know, taking your bathroom break in the middle of the street and everything else going on from there. And it's it's a pretty funny movie, man. I don't know what else to tell you. It's worth a watch for sure. It's who's the other one in there? McCarthy's in this. She's pretty funny in this, and Kristen Wiig is funny in this. It's the whole SNL cast here, you know. Kate McKinnon, I think it shows up in this one. It's got a pretty good cast for Maya Rudolph is in this as well. So just about getting together for the Kristen Wiig going to be the bridesmaid, and Maya was getting married, and the comedy of things that happens along the way. It's my life is shit and yours is getting really good. So just a pretty funny movie. My number 2 is The End of the World.
Ooh.
With, so who's in this one now? James Franco's in this one. Seth Rogen. Burchell's in this one. Just about the end of the world and everything else that's going on, except they're just in this house together or whatever. It's a pretty friggin' funny movie too, man. It's for everything that's going on in this house and surviving. And it's like, you know, literally the end of the world is happening. Literally their friends are dying at this party that's happening in front of them where the ground's caving in and they're going outside and stuff. So I find The End of the World to be a pretty funny flick for at least the last 10 years. Like I said, it was not my sweetest spot anyway, but my number 1 is probably Brian's number 2, which is Deadpool. So yeah, man, that movie is it's more of a comedy than it is a superhero Marvel kind of flick in one sense. It's violence. There's a whole bunch of other things that are happening in this movie. It's that opening sequence, the first half an hour in that movie, man, is pretty vicious, but freak, man, is that a funny flick. The quippy liners from Ryan Reynolds in this movie, he's singing them, 3, 4, 5 times a scene. He's dropping one-liners on you all the time, man, and they're friggin' funny. I don't think it's to me, I don't know if it's anything close, man. I think it's maybe the comedy of the decade, man, for sure.
He's always busting on Hugh Jackman too in that movie. Every time
big time.
He's just busting on Wolverine, man. Every time he gets a chance.
It was funny. I have to admit, it was funny.
And he makes fun of himself too in that movie.
He does, yeah.
Little Green Lantern there. So,
yeah. Very good. I have that, but not in this category. Although it could easily be in the comic. I put it in the comic book category because I didn't see enough comic book movies to fill out my list, to be honest with you. But anyway, my number 5 is one that Doc had. That's Bridesmaids. I enjoyed it too. It's not in my wheelhouse. I like Kristen Wiig pretty much and everything she does. I just physically find her very funny. Whatever, she's got all the nuances of a comedian. Maya Rudolph, Rose Byrne, and Melissa McCarthy are the other women in it. They're all very good at what they do. This is the female answer to The Hangover in a way, getting together with the girls where they're getting together with the guys. Lots of hijinks, some laugh out loud scenes. The toilet humor is priceless. The food poisoning scene. There's a scene in the men's bathroom where one of the women is trying to get up on it and do her business. It's just very funny. My number 4 is a Wes Anderson movie, Moonrise Kingdom. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yes, I did. I liked it. Yeah,
I liked it. It was a charming little thing with these 2 adolescent kids away on this New England fictional island, and you got Bruce Willis and Ed Norton, Bill Murray, Frances McDormand, Tilda Swinton, Harvey Keitel, just an all-star cast in really supporting roles. It's about these 2 young kids. One of them is this orphan boy who's escaping from a Boy Scout camp, and he runs off with his pen pal love interest, the young girl, to an isolated island. And it's basically an exploration of young love and sexual curiosity, as only Wes Anderson can do, Typical color palette. It looks like a Wes Anderson film, and it's original in that style that he has. And I don't know how he does it. He's got this artistic eye that he can film anything, and it's his kind of movie. It's about being outcast and misunderstood, things that adolescent kids go through. Very well done. My number 3 is The Lobster. This is an odd movie, if there ever was an odd movie. Black comedy, a dystopian kind of feature with Colin Farrell, Rachel Weisz, John C. Reilly, Olivia Colman. And the premise is people are given 45 days to find their romantic partners, or they get turned into the animal of their choice. Thus, The Lobster. There's some rules. Masturbation is banned. Just insane. And to get extended time at the hotel where they're housed, you can hunt down people who have escaped. So if you go out and tag a few people in the woods there who have bailed, you get more time to find your mate. A very, very strange movie, but in the end, you sort of roll with it. And I did. It's funny in parts, tragic in others, bloody. One guy's brother's turned into a dog, and it's just a mess. Number 2, a Woody Allen film. I always have to get a Woody film in here. Midnight in Paris, starring Owen Wilson, Rachel McAdams. This is a sort of a time warp movie for Woody. Every night at midnight, a writer this particular writer, Owen Wilson, is transported back to the 1920s, to the cafes and these swanky parties, and he meets people like Pablo Picasso and Hemingway and Salvador Dali. It's kind of whimsical, light, romantic comedy, but it worked for me. My number 1, you can say it's really not a comedy intentionally, but the end result, flat out hilarious. The Wolf of Wall Street, directed by Martin Scorsese. This movie, I didn't know what to make of it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, Margot Robbie, Matthew McConaughey doing one of these things on his chest. It's the rise and fall of a young, successful stockbroker. He's not really likable. It's based on a true story, materialistic. He's a womanizer, a drug addict, just over the top profanity and depravity and debauchery. But it becomes comedic. It's basically an Animal House story on Wall Street, and that's what it turns into.
How did they put that on network TV?
I don't know how you do it.
You can't.
I don't understand
You
the
just
editing
can't.
process there.
And you could say it puts women down, but these guys are so full of themselves, these Wall Street guys, and they're doing lines off women's breasts and bottoms, and it's depravity. It's flat out debauchery, but it's based on a true story. So who knows what went on in some of these Wall Street buildings during this time when money was just flooding in, and they were scamming people and everything they could to rake people's accounts, and it's all illegal, and they eventually went down for it. There's a Quaalude scene in here, which is absolutely fantastic, where DiCaprio's coming out of a restaurant and crawling to his car, and it's a mess, but I found it funny. And it's a different kind of movie for Marty Scorsese, who's usually doing these mob films and whatever. It doesn't fit his motif, but he's got good actors in it, and it works well. Yeah. So that made my number one. I didn't think it was a strong comedic kind of decade, so I had to scramble a little bit.
No, it was kind of weak.
No.
I agree with you. Deadpool was probably the funniest movie, but because I was so hurting in the comic book category, I needed it over there, and I was scrambling. That's why I put the Lobster in too, because you could say it's not really a comedy, but in a way it is. It's a black comedy, so I stuck it in there. Have you guys seen the Lobster at all? It's kind of weird.
I have not seen it.
I would recommend it just to fill out your resume a little bit.
And full disclosure, I haven't even seen Bridesmaids yet. It just didn't seem like
Bridesmaids is funny.
I didn't seem like it was going to be in my wheelhouse at all.
It's not in mine
either,
funny, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It's worth checking out.
Yeah, definitely not in my wheelhouse either, but yeah, definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. Yeah. Right, pretty funny scenes in that movie, man.
There's some very funny scenes, over the top, but you can't help but crack up.
Yeah, they're funny. That's what it is.
Melissa McCarthy, I generally don't like as an actress, but she's funny in the movie. I mean, I got to give her credit, And I just like Kristen. I like Kristen Wiig in everything she does. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I like her too.
She can play a straight role, comedic. I've seen her opposite somebody where she played a brother or sister who were estranged, and I like that movie. I can't remember the title.
Skeleton Twins.
What was it?
Skeleton Twins.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, she's with who's the guy in that?
Bill Hader is the
Bill Hader
brother. Yeah, we'll be talking. I've got that in another category, so we'll get to that. So
it's an odd movie, let's face it, but I like her in the movie.
I'll be honest with you. She almost made my list because she almost showed up. Well, she's in Masterminds and she's in Bridesmaids. So those two she's in with me already.
Yeah.
She was almost in another one because I was going to pick a really stupid comedy. I was going to go with MacGruber. So almost... yeah. And she looks like MacGruber dressed in one scene. So
all right, let's wrap this one up. That ends our comedy. We're going to be back with crime thrillers, always a favorite of ours. There's usually a plethora of crime thrillers to go around. So until next time, for Brian and Doc, I'm Rich. We will see you next time with the crime thrillers. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, AYBL Maine, Rich Strickler, and leave some comments. Like to hear some feedback. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.